Not always, life in the sky was this safe. Hundreds of tragedies and lakhs of lives made it possible for us to rely on the aerial industry. So let's rewind back in time to explore the top 10 most tragic incidents in aviation history that changed airplanes forever. 10. Grand Canyon Air Crash of 1956. The heart-wrenching Grand Canyon mid-air collision of June 30, 1956, saw a United Airlines DC-7 and a TWA Super Constellation collide over Grand Canyon National Park, claiming 128 lives. The collision occurred as the DC-7 attempted evasive action, resulting in explosive decompression and a devastating crash into the canyon. Not just that, the lack of radar and data recorders made the search for wreckage and victim identification challenging. Investigations have cited cloud cover, cockpit visibility issues, and pilot distractions as factors that could contribute to the collision. In response to this tragedy, the U.S. government swiftly established the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, within 2 years to enhance aviation safety and regulation. An investment of over $250 million upgraded the nation's air traffic control system, bolstering surveillance and monitoring to prevent such catastrophes in the burgeoning aviation industry. This heartbreaking event remains a stark reminder of the importance of stringent safety measures and oversight in aviation history. 9. United Airlines Flight 173. On December 28, 1978, United Airlines Flight 173, en route from New York to Oregon, crashed in a Portland neighborhood, killing 10 people. The experienced crew faced issues with the landing gear, leading to an hour-long holding pattern. During this time, they failed to monitor fuel levels, resulting in engine failures. The Air Force Reserve aided in rescuing survivors. However, this tragic incident led to significant changes in the aviation industry. The National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, recommended improved crew resource management, CRM, to address coordination and situational awareness problems. United Airlines implemented the first CRM program in 1981, revolutionizing pilot training worldwide. Captain McBroom, held responsible for the accident, lost his pilot's license and faced health problems, passing away in 2004. The incident also resulted in substantial compensation for survivors. However, money cannot replace the lives lost. 8. Delta Airlines Flight 191. Another wretched incident took place on August 2, 1985, when Delta Airlines Flight 191, traveling from Fort Lauderdale to Los Angeles via Dallas, Fort Worth, crashed near the DFW airport, resulting in 137 fatalities and 25 injuries. It was a huge incident caused by a microburst, a sudden and severe wind shear, during the approach to land. Led by the flight crew's decision to fly through a thunderstorm and the lack of training to avoid or escape microbursts, we lost many lives. It highlighted the need for better onboard microburst detection systems by the National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB. Consequently, an onboard Doppler weather radar system was developed and installed on many commercial airliners to detect wind shear. The investigation also revealed gaps in emergency response coordination, which improved post-crash notification systems and sped up emergency service response times. Furthermore, pilots were trained on how to respond to microbursts and take evasive action to ensure safer landings. 7. Aeromexico Flight 498. It was a gloomy day when Aeromexico Flight 498, en route from Mexico City to Los Angeles, crashed in the Los Angeles suburb of Cerritos on August 31, 1986. The Kramer family's Piper PA-28-181 Cherokee collided with the DC-9, causing it to crash. All 64 people on board the DC-9, all 3 people on board the Piper, and an additional 15 people on the ground perished. It's literally a lot. After the incident, the FAA mandated the use of traffic collision avoidance systems, TCAS, on jets in U.S. airspace to prevent mid-air collisions. Additionally, light aircraft operating in dense airspace were required to be equipped with Mode C transponders to report their altitude. A legal ruling found both the pilot of the Piper and the FAA equally negligent, emphasizing the importance of see and avoid regulations for all aircraft. Aeromexico retired flight number 498, but the airline continues to operate flights to Los Angeles under a different label. 6. Turkish Airlines Flight 981. Turkish Airlines Flight 981 comes next on the list. Traveling from Istanbul to London with a stop in Paris, it crashed in the Ermenonville forest outside Paris on March 3, 1974, killing all 346 people on board. The failure of an improperly secured cargo door led to explosive decompression and the severing of control cables, resulting in the crash. It was the deadliest aviation accident at the time and remains one of the deadliest single aircraft accidents in history. The investigation revealed design flaws and human factors contributing to the disaster, including a weak latch linkage, the filing down of the door handle, and language barriers among baggage handlers. McDonnell Douglas, the aircraft manufacturer, faced numerous lawsuits and settled for an estimated $100 million. The crash highlighted the need for improved safety measures and ultimately led to significant design changes in the aviation industry to prevent similar incidents. The FAA also mandated changes for outward-opening cargo doors on various aircraft. 5. American Airlines Flight 587. The first officer's excessive use of rudder controls in response to wake turbulence from a preceding plane resulted in the crash of American Airlines Flight 587. The flight, which was heading from New York to the Dominican Republic on November 12, 2001, crashed in Queens, killing all 260 people on board and 5 on the ground. This aggressive rudder use caused the vertical stabilizer to separate from the aircraft, leading to a catastrophic loss of control. The crash occurred just 2 months after the 9/11 attacks, initially raising fears of terrorism. However, the National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, determined that it was an accident. Investigations found the first officer's over-reliance on rudder inputs and American Airlines training methods at fault for encouraging aggressive responses to turbulence, and the sensitivity of the Airbus A300's rudder controls. It underscored the importance of proper pilot training in handling wake turbulence and led to changes in aircraft design to prevent similar incidents in the future. 4. ValueJet Airlines Flight 592. The happy voyage for ValueJet Airlines Flight 592 was momentary. Traveling from Miami to Atlanta, Flight 592 crashed into the Everglades on May 11, 1996, just 10 minutes after takeoff. A fire in the cargo compartment, ignited by improperly stored and labeled hazardous cargo, resulted in the loss of all 110 people on board. The cargo hold contained expired chemical oxygen generators, which, when activated, produced intense heat. One generator likely triggered during taxiing, leading to a chain reaction that ignited the fire. Exposing the serious safety issues within ValueJet, the airline was grounded for several months for a violation of regulations regarding hazardous materials. And when it resumed operations, it struggled to regain passenger trust. ValueJet eventually acquired AirTran in 1997 and took on the AirTran name to distance itself from the incident. A happy note from this crash will be the industry reforms, including the requirement to convert Class D cargo holds, like the one on Flight 592, to Class C or E, which have better fire detection and suppression systems. 3. Swissair Flight 111. Personally, Swissair Flight 111 gives us more chills than any other crash. En route from New York City to Geneva, the flight crashed into the Atlantic Ocean near Halifax, Nova Scotia, on September 2, 1998. Tragically, all 229 passengers and crew on board the McDonnell Douglas MD-11 perished, marking it as Swissair's deadliest accident and the second deadliest in Canada's aviation history. The investigation, lasting over 4 years, yes, 4 years, and costing $57 million Canadian dollars, revealed that flammable materials in the aircraft structure contributed to the disaster. Inadequate aircraft material flammability standards allowed the fire to spread uncontrollably, ultimately leading to the loss of the aircraft. Later identified in an investigation as the likely ignition source, an electrical arcing event ignited flammable insulation blankets. Rapid electrical failures disrupted critical systems, leaving the crew unable to control the aircraft. The pilot's manual control attempts were futile, and the plane crashed into the ocean. 2. Air France Flight 447. Another catastrophe was caused on June 1, 2009, when Air France Flight 447, traveling from Rio de Janeiro to Paris, tragically crashed into the Atlantic Ocean, resulting in the loss of all 228 passengers and crew. Caused by inconsistent airspeed indications that led to the aircraft stalling and subsequently plummeting into the ocean, the incident left hearts sobbing and families weeping. However, the investigation by France's Bureau of Inquiry and Analysis for Civil Aviation Safety, BEA, was challenging due to the delayed recovery of the flight recorders from the ocean floor, but it concluded that ice crystals obstructing the aircraft's pitot tubes caused airspeed discrepancies, leading to autopilot disconnection. The crew's incorrect response ultimately led to an unrecoverable stall. The accident was not only Air France's deadliest but also the deadliest involving an Airbus A330. As a result, Air France modified the flight number for the same route, and the incident underscored the importance of pilot training, aircraft design improvements, and enhanced stall recovery procedures in the aviation industry. 1. TWA Flight 800. On July 17, 1996, Trans World Airlines Flight 800, TWA 800, a Boeing 747-100, tragically exploded and crashed into the Atlantic Ocean shortly after takeoff from JFK International Airport, claiming the lives of all 230 people on board. Initial fears of terrorism led to investigations by both the NTSB and the FBI, but no evidence of foul play was found. After a 4-year NTSB investigation, it was determined that the explosion resulted from fuel vapors igniting in the center fuel tank, likely due to a wiring issue and a short circuit. It brought about significant changes in the aerial industry to make it safer, including new safety measures for fuel tanks. The crash also set internet records for web traffic in 1996, and the wreckage was moved to an NTSB facility for training purposes. In 2008, a rule mandating inert gas in fuel tanks was introduced to prevent such explosions. All this while knowing about the 10 terrible crashes that changed airplanes forever. I'm sure we have a common thought: we learned at a great cost, the cost of lives. If you'd like to watch such intriguing content, remember to hit that bell button and stay notified.